And we're rolling, everybody.
Woo!
So, hey, it's David Barrett here for the show Music, Movies, and Movie Music, the podcast where we take a deep dive with other artists and people in the scene and find out what their favorite movies, their actors, directors, bands, solo artists, concerts, and whatever. So here with Nick Rimshot of Rimshot and the Rippers. He's a music promoter, puts on shows at May's Oyster House, Lane Splitter Pizza, Revolution Cafe, Stay Gold. He's a heavy hitter in the scene. Our bands do shows together, and it's pretty awesome. And we're going to find out what deep dive into music and movies that Nick likes. So tell the people some concerts that you've seen that have inspired you. What bands or solo artists have you seen from, 10 years ago, a week ago to, 20 years ago?
Well,
yeah, bands and musicians that you like.
I did see the Allman Brothers quite a few times.
Okay.
And my brother and I, we weren't allowed to play any musical instruments in my house when I was a kid, but we would do the hambone.
All right.
Which is where you go like that, and you're like. And then sometimes I would get a pair of drumsticks, because my musical career was not encouraged by my parents. But I would get a pair of drumsticks and I would beat up the furniture, usually like an ottoman. You know what an ottoman is, right?
Yeah, piece of furniture, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a footrest in a way. And so for many years, when I was a teenager, me and my brother would go to these Allman Brother concerts, and we would do the hambone.
So you like Allman Brothers? Did you know that Cher's son with Greg Allman, his name is Elijah Allman, and he was in a band called Dead Sea. He was a singer, guitar player, and he played guitar for Cher's one of her tours. But yeah, Elijah Allman, son of Cher and Greg Allman, in his band Dead Sea. I just like throwing these tidbits out of trivia in the music world. So besides the Allman Brothers, what other concerts have you seen that have like blown your fucking mind?
Well, I did go to a bunch of shows at Winterland.
All right, well, take us back to Winterland.
B.B. King and
B.B. King,
Bobby Blue Bland, and
wow, that's a good one.
The New Riders of the Purple Sage, and of course
that's taking it back.
Rainbow and Led Zeppelin.
Who was the singer of Rainbow when you saw him? Dio or Jolyn Turner, or who? Who was it?
I believe it was the man on the Silver Mountain.
Then that would be Ronnie James Dio. Which we're both big fans of Dio.
The last 67 years are kind of a blur, David.
All right.
It's all been crazy.
Well, do you want to go to movies influences, or you want to... I figured you had a bunch of concerts that were your favorites or your favorite musicians, Give me some more. What do you got?
As a member of the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Radio and Television Artists these last 45 years, I've had a hell of a run. It was Ron Howard from Happy Days that got me my SAG card. But the truth is that, I was in a bunch of movies for many years before I got my SAG card. And then, after that, I was in the SAG Conservatory. It's like a film school. They taught me a lot of very interesting things at the SAG Conservatory, like framing.
Yeah. Well, what are some of your influences in movies? I mean, actors, directors, films that you love over the years.
Well, I was in a number of movies.
Well, name some. What do you got for us? This show's about movies and music, and people do the research, so you got to let people know where to find it.
A lot of times when you're in a movie, it's the working title, so you haven't actually named it. When you're in the movie, you don't always know the name of the movie. But let's see now. Well, I was in this one movie with Clint Eastwood and Samuel Jackson. I think it was called True Crimes, something like that. It was one of his Dirty Harry movies that he made.
Okay.
And I worked with Clint, who was still alive, by the way.
Yeah, he's another guy who's 95 years old, like William Shatner. Still going at 95 years old.
My mom owned a lot of theaters and nightclubs in San Francisco in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So I had some pretty incredible experiences working with the Oingo Boingos, who I performed with, dressed as a monkey. And also I worked with Tom Lehrer, who's also still alive, when they did the Tom Lehrer, wonderful Tom Lehrer. My channel, you might want to check that out on YouTube, Tom Lehrer. That was the year that was. Yeah, you know, Tom Lehrer did those satirical singing with the piano playing.
Okay.
But yeah, I did a lot of work in live theater. Really, I'm from the live theater background.
Well,
For
there you
20
go.
years, I performed.
Not only a fan of movies and
really a live
music,
theater.
but he's into live theater realm.
Song and dance man.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you like musicals and
I
movies, or what?
I was in Will Smith, a close personal friend of mine. I call him Mr. Smith. I was in his movie Pursuit of Happyness.
Mr. Smith sounds like the guy from
my
The Matrix.
My band played music there in the BART station. Funny story about Will Smith. Funny story. When he was filming the movie Pursuit of Happyness, he had just filmed another movie where he played Muhammad Ali. And I'm sure my audience doesn't understand how actors work, but this is the way actors work. So when actors play a part in a movie like Will Smith was Muhammad Ali in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's sort of like Will Smith in his mind, the method, character acting.
Method actor.
He actually became Muhammad Ali. And forever afterwards, because, as I said, Will Smith is a close personal friend of mine. So when you're working with Will Smith, man, he turns into Muhammad Ali. And one time, we were filming at the 12th Street BART station over there in Oakland in the middle of the night, and the director for Pursuit of Happyness, some Italian guy, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so he's having this argument with Will Smith, and he kept making Will Smith jump over this big, tall wall that was over there, and he kept making Will Smith jump over it over and over and over and over and over again, and I think Will Smith was getting kind of pissed off at him. So, Will Smith was like arguing with the director, and then Will Smith turned into Muhammad Ali. So now he's like floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. He's duking it out with the director, which I have to say it's very unusual from my long experience of making hundreds and hundreds of movies. Usually he's a stand-in, extra performer.
Yeah.
But it's very odd for the star of the movie, Will Smith, to be engaged in fisticuffs with the director. But I suppose you all remember the slap that was heard around the world. Remember when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars?
Yeah.
Well, I have seen that shit in action, dude. So anyway, here's the bit. So anyway, he's fighting with the director, right? And they're going at it, they're going around. And then Will Smith, he's like going to play a trick on him, a fighter trick. I used to joust for many years at the Renaissance Fair in a suit of armor, so I have my little stories from that whole segment of my life. But I was really on to Will Smith when he pulled this one on the director. So, he's fighting with the director, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to fight with you anymore. So, Will Smith turns around and he starts to walk away, knowing that the director is going to try and sucker punch him the second he turns his back, right? But Will Smith has that strategy like in his mind, because at that point he's Muhammad Ali, his character acting, you don't understand, but see, he's completely lost his mind at that point.
Method acting, character acting people, that's when the people dig deep. Christian Bale's known for it, all the actors, De Niro's another one.
So when the director tries to punch him in the back of the head, Will Smith is like eyes in the back of his head, and he turns around really quick. And he just like swarmed on the director, this big Italian guy. He just swarmed on him. He's like totally knocked him down and beat him the fuck up.
Well,
but you see how he tricked him? He tricked him by turning his back. You see how he did that, right? That's tricky.
Well, there you go. Some
7 degrees of separation
be shared on the podcast. So, Nick, we'll wrap this up. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah,
unless you got more stories for us.
I get the day off tomorrow, but rehearsal with 2 different bands.
All right.
Rehearsing with Rimshot and the Rippers, and then the Butchered Hens.
Well, again, Nick Rimshot here, David Barrett here for Music, Movies, and Movie Music, the podcast. Check us out on YouTube. This is a whole separate show from Entertainment Getaway TV, where you can see me again and Mannequin Planet on stage. And again, Nick has the YouTube channel, Rimshot, Nick Rimshot and the Rippers, right?
Yeah, I'm also on Instagram.
Yeah, YouTube, Nick Rimshot, it'll pop right up. And that's where you can see more of this guy. Like I said, promoter and always booking shows. And yeah, thanks for taking the time out to do this. And we'll catch you next time at another episode on Music, Movies, and Movie Music.